Hello everyone, and today we're gonna talk about asset. So as far as you remember, last time I told you and show one example that we will have a lot of situation when we will check whether our object is correctly initialized and print some errors if it's not, or we just want to check some condition and if it's false and we print some errors and do something. So we can use if statements for this. We can just simply check if this object equals to null pointer, then we print something using our logger and stuff like that. But suppose you have like 1000 if checking like this, and you decide that you want to add a breakpoint like debug break. If you are in a debug mode and stuff like that, so you just want to add a debug break to them. So you will go through every single if statement that you have and manually add this line of code. So you will add like 1000 line of code, and that's really stupid. So, and also instead of having like 2 or 3 lines of code or even 4 or 5, um, every single time you want to check whether the object is correctly initialized or not, you can have just one. And today we're gonna do this. We're gonna create a macro called Raccoon Engine Asset that will actually take our condition, and if condition is false, then the second parameter will be our message that will be print if this condition will be false. So okay, let's just create it. But firstly, what I would like to say is that I change a little bit, change some stuff inside of Raccoon. So here I saw that I don't know why I accidentally typed target compile definition, not options. So that was wrong. And also inside of our debug bat, there was like min-gw debug, not just debug. So I changed this stuff, and also I add launch.json. I don't know, maybe for some of you this is interesting because there's just a default launch task that will be run when I hit F5. This will actually run our executable in debug mode. So it will be useful today when we will check whether our break, like debug break, working or not. So let's just add our file called asset, asset.h, and what we need to have here is firstly we need to split our assets like we split our logger. So we have a core logger and we have a client logger. The same way we will have an assets. So we will have define Raccoon Engine asset, and we will also have define Raccoon Engine core asset. So firstly, what we need to have, you need to realize that we can use our asset without actually message. So what if we want to have no message? What if we want to just know if this asset is like, we hit this asset, yeah, and if our condition is false, then everything we want to know is where we actually hit this, in which file, and what the actual condition we have. So what if we want to have this? So in order to support this, we need to have like a macro that will actually give us like macros that will give us a macro, yeah. So sounds really weird, but that's what we need. So we will call it Raccoon Engine. I don't know, assets get macro. Okay, so this macro will actually take via args. So arguments that we paste. So based on which argument we paste to it, it will return us a macro. So it will take this args, and now we need, oh, also I forgot to define. Now we need to have another macro that will actually return us a name for the macro we need. So this macro will actually take 3 arguments, and I'll explain in a minute why we have them like this and why our macro is always our set parameter. So this macro will just simply call it with VRArgs. And that's it. So if our VRArgs, oh not just this. So okay, let's just talk about it if I started. If our VRArgs is actually like one parameter, then we should use our macro without message. Yeah, so just one parameter, we don't specify any messages. So our macro should be actually without message. So this first parameter will be written to this. So to the second one, we should write, for example, name of a macro with message. And the third parameter will be name of macro without message. Okay, that works. But what if we have like two arguments to this VRArgs? So the first argument and the second arguments will be our VRArgs. So the second argument of this function will be written to a macro. So we will use a macro with message. And the third one will be written to here, so we unuse it. So I think you get a point. So we have a name. I will type internal because I don't want our user to actually accidentally call it when he will type like Raccoon engine asset. So yeah, Raccoon I set with message. I hope, yeah, and without message. I mean, we can just type no message. It will be simpler. So we will have these two macros. We'll also define them. Yeah, and oh. Okay, so that's it. And then we have a macro that actually returns us a macro with message or without message, depends on the number of arguments that we paste to it. Then we need to paste some arguments to this macro. So what this macro will actually take? We know that we need to have this kind of architecture that we have here, so we need to split between our client and a core. So let's just think how we can do this. So what is our what is like the difference between two of them? So we have like Raccoon engine plus something plus, for example, error, because we will use error inside of our assets. So what is this something for our like client logger? So this something is actually underscore. So if you add this like Raccoon engine underscore error, you will have this. What is like, what if we use this like underscore core underscore instead of this underscore? So we will have Raccoon engine underscore core underscore error. So this is our type. So firstly, for our client, we will just paste this. For our core, we will paste this. So that's a type of our asset. Then what we will paste is simply this with arguments. So that's it. So the condition and a message. So this guy actually take a type and this also, and they also take a check and our message. A check is our condition, because honestly condition is too long, so I just want to type check. Yeah, this is like the highest level of laziness. Okay, so we have it, and we need to have some kind of macro that actually implements our assets. So this will be implementation. So this implementation will actually take the same stuff like type, check, and it will take a message. And it will take some arguments for our message if there are some. So we will actually check. I add this curly brackets just to never have some issues, because like for someone who works with macros, they know why to do this, because at some point it will become really like annoying, because you never thought that the issue can be here. So yeah, we have it, and what we need to have, we need to Raccoon engine then stringify our type and call error. So this will return our logger. So that's why we need to include logger here. Include logger.h. Okay. And we need to paste a message and arguments to this message if they are someone. Okay, that's pretty much it. And we will actually call this implementation macro from here and from here. So if we call with message, what we actually give to our implementation macro, so we can actually set like a session failed, and we can say like a session failed and what kind of a session actually failed. So this is like a first argument, and the first argument like a C style printf, if someone knows what is this. A session failed, and we just want to specify our arguments to it. Okay, so that's easy, but what about our without message? So we need to have some kind of a session, then what a session we actually failed. I mean, we can actually stringify our check, and that's will be what actually a session we failed, and then we need to specify where it fails, like in which file and in which line. So we will take like a file to the second parameter, and to this head we will take a line. So we need to create, we can create a macro that will just stringify. So it's like stringify macro. It will take a macro and it will actually stringify it. So we will stringify, as I said before, our check. Then we also need to include, because we use C++ 17 standards, we can include file system, and we can actually std file system path. Then we create this path used using this file macro, predefined C++ macro. So that's just an object. So this std file system path is just an object. We can take a file name from this object and convert it to a string. So that's what we need. And the last thing we need is line. So that's it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's what we want. Okay, so now we can check it. Now we can actually go to our application.cpp, include our asset. I included already. And we can use something like Raccoon asset. And let's just paste false in order to fail this assertion. Let's just type client assertion. Oh. Okay, and the same stuff for core. Okay. So we have already everything, I hope. Let's just see whether we have some problems or not. Okay, we have. I forgot to delete this. Yeah. The biggest issue we have. Okay. So now it should be fine. Okay, and we can actually run using F5 now, because I add this program, and yeah, because we add F5, we need to add some breakpoints. Okay, now just do this and debug everything. So our session failed, and we can see client, a session failed, and client a session. Okay, so Raccoon, that's actually our core logger, a session failed, core session. Okay, so that's it. That's what I want. So now let's just do something else. Let's just add quickly something. As I said before, when I talk about example, what if we want to add debug break to it? So there is a lot of issues with this debug break, because in Windows we have like this function, debug break function. On Linux, it's something else. Also, on macOS, it's also something else, I hope. But we will actually do this when we will talk about platform detection and all this stuff. So just for now, don't care about this. I'm in Windows, and that's just temporary code. So okay, we will actually compile this and try to run it without any debugger, like breakpoint. So using debugger without breakpoint. Okay, let's just hit a 5, and now, as you can see, we hit a breakpoint here. So that's okay, that's perfect. And if I will, for example, set it to true, then and rebuild this, then we will hit a breakpoint here, and this we will never see this because it's true. So everything is okay. So yeah, as I said, we doesn't see any client session. Everything is okay. So yeah, that's it. That's what we had today. Don't forget to click the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also don't forget to leave your comments below. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.